Hello guys, welcome back. Tuesday's vlog. Just a quick reminder this week, I'm more or less taking Friday off because my mate's coming over to wire in the lights in my loft and put a light in the conservatory. I may not totally disregard the day as the garage vlog. I might even, if it's alright with Sam, put his face on the channel and do a little bit of video in not long, 5 minutes or so, of before and after. I'll show you what's been going on at my house all week with the loft and stuff. So just to let you know, potentially just going to be a 3-day week this week on the vlog, so we know where we're at. Right, so what's in? Well, that's been, actually, I was going to mention, I'll say, I will mention it, because I've already put the video live. On Friday or Thursday, I can't remember what day it was, I mentioned about a potential new project. Yes, I have purchased a car. If you've seen it on my previous video or seen it on Facebook, you'll know it's a Mondeo. That Mondeo used to be my car, I would say more than, maybe 10 years, 8 years, maybe. Yeah, it's got to be something like that anyway. I bought the car off an old gentleman over in Newcastle. We owned it from new, only 50,000 mile on. Then one of my customers since then has bought it. He hammered quite a few miles on it when he was travelling, but in the last few years he hasn't. It's still only got 90,000 on. So I've took that back off him, going to do a bit of work, and I'm debating raffling it. But if any of you guys are interested in it, it still could potentially be for sale just as a normal purchase, you know what I mean, rather than raffling and stuff, because I was going to do 39 numbers, £30 a ticket. I'll make a little bit on it, because it does need a bit of work, it does need a bit here and there, so I'm not just simply taking a car and then raffling it off. I will be spending money on it and doing my usual stuff I normally do to it. It's had all that done anyway, like my work over the years and every year when it's been serviced. But immediately, not on my page, but somebody shared me link, and some complete idiot, and these are the people I can't be bothered with, had to make the comment of, well, the tickets are 30 quid. I'm surprised the car's even worth 30 quid anyway. It's like, it's just, I can't be bothered with it. Like, if I went onto Trent's or something where they take these cars running, where you buy any car, you'd probably still get 400 quid for a knackered Mondeo. So yeah, I will do the raffle. I've had quite a few positive people on my Facebook page say, yeah, Dan, I'll be up for a 30 quid ticket, blah-de-blah. But even midway through it, if I start getting complete idiots, I'll just pull the plug and I'll refund everybody back the money. So we'll see how it goes. Please, if you guys like that idea, obviously I haven't got the car yet, I'm getting it after Christmas. Share it to your friends, ask your friends if they'll be interested. The only thing I have to remind you, if you are down in London, Kent, top end of Scotland, clearly I'm not going to deliver it. I'll help you out somehow if I've got ways and means of doing it, or I'll even deliver it to wherever you want, as long as you pay my way back home on a train or something like that. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We'll get the car in, I'll get it sorted, I'll get it MOT'd, I'll do the jobs that I need it done, let you all have a good look round it. But I've had some quite positive feedback and people who do want to, but I've obviously got to sell 39 tickets, which I'm going to do with the only thing I can find on the national lottery to make it more fair, where it can't be fixed, is the lottery's like 60 numbers, Euro Millions is 50. I won't be able to sell that many tickets, so therefore I'm thinking the Thunderball's got 39 numbers. That's going to be a sensible figure to go for. So we need to try and find 39 people who would like to spend £30 on a ticket to win a fully MOT'd, nice, low mileage Mondeo that, let's face it, I couldn't believe somebody actually made the point of not worth 30 quid. I could wait in for basic scrap for 150. So, if I get any of that nonsense, the plug will be pulled, or, I'm just not putting up with it. So, that's that. As you've seen today, it's cold. I've got my old about 10 layers on, but it's set to get a lot more colder this week. Supposedly, it's a bit of snow by the end of the week. So, can't expect no more. It is December after all. So what's in today? Got this little Corsa. Common fault with these, heater fans off on it, which, like I've mentioned, this is regarding the weather. When you get the frosty mornings and that, I don't know how people manage with these with cars without heater fans. I know a few of my customers who do, somehow. One guy used to deliver parcels in a vehicle with no heater fans. How we managed, every day. I have no idea. But yeah, this is in for the service. Oil and filter, air filter was MOT, but the guy did politely ring up last week and state that his granda had MOT'd it without him knowing about it, which, to be honest, is fine by us. So that's that. Not a great deal to do on this. The heater motor, you can only get a cheap rubbish one, and I want a Denso one. It's a £5 difference between a cheap rubbish and a Denso, which is exactly what you would get from Vauxhall. So it's coming back in next week for the heater fan, heater resistor, and pollen filter. If you don't do all of those, if you just fit a new motor and the old heater resistor is defective and it burns the new motor out, or the pollen filter's blocked, you really should do it in a 3. I know it sounds like a dealer money-making trick there, but trust us, it isn't. If you change a heater motor, you should always change the resistor and the pollen filter. It's just common practice. Most things, when you get them in, there'll be a little leaflet in stating that if you don't do that, the warranty won't be covered. So anyways, that's nothing greatly important with the Corsa. The usual subframes that rust on them, here, but every year when it comes in, we coat it with grease. But if you do buy one of these Corsas, look around this area, especially on the driver's side, that rot through right here, and believe it or not, for some reason, just in there, that is the favourite places on them. Not so much this being a 14, I think it is, they're not too bad, but it's the earlier ones. I think they started on an 06, 07, 09, 10, they're the really ones that are bad. They did have a recall in where they were fitting new subframes to them, but now that's been stopped, along with the Safiras going on fire. I've heard that stopped, so the odd few ones that are flying about, they're quite happy for people to be driving around a vehicle that could go up in flames. But who knows? I have heard has been stopped, so I wouldn't not disbelieve that. It's probably true. Onto this, Renault Megane, and this is where me issues become with French cars. I don't pull them to bits too much, and I'm most certainly not praising any of the German cars for being any better at times, but this is what I mean about being ridiculous. You see bits off on the floor there, inner wheel arch liners, the wheel off. It's on a lift. Bonnet open. Why? Just to change epoxy fuel filter, which is buried in there. There's just no need for it. But again, that's still awkward because there's sensors built into it, which I will show you later on when it's off. Pipes, which you can hardly get to. A bracket here, which you have to remove. And as you can see, there's all sorts of seals and little pipes and everything. You've got to match up the colours, it tells you. 4 seals. Just ridiculous. You know, if they're going to have something that complicated, it should be in an accessible place. But you've got to try and get in there because these pipes are rigid to try and disconnect those fuel lines to get the thing out. And then it means when you put it in, you're struggling to try and you kind of get your hand up there to hold the pipe to push the fuel filter onto it. So yeah, I'm going to get on with that now. Take me new jacket off so I don't get covered in diesel. And I'll get back to you either when I've got it partially stripped or not, to see how I get on with it. With my hands up the eyes and diesel. I think there's an Astra, that's right, there's an Astra coming in later on the day for the one that I was going to buy, one that the guy who had the A6 took on. Oil and filter, fuel filter, and RGM's coming tomorrow to do a stage 1 remap. They go from 160 brake horsepower to 210. So I bet you that'll be a beast of a car when it's done. Again, when they're driven sensibly, people go, oh, that's going to wreck the clutch, wreck the gearbox. Yes, it could potentially, if you drive it like an idiot continuously. But if you get a car remap, then you just drive it like the way you used to. You get better miles per gallon, it doesn't do any harm. And just if you need to do an overtake or put your foot down with it now and again, it just means you've got that extra power. So I am a big believer in remaps. I don't really make any money off them. But yeah, if you drive it like an idiot constantly after a remap, you will cause problems. If you drive it normally, perfectly fine. So yeah, I'll catch you later on when the Astra's in, obviously tomorrow morning, when the remap's getting done and when this Renault's done. Because I want to get it finished a little bit earlier that day. Quick update while I've got my gloves off. Corsa's running, obviously the oil's in, pretty much standard. I don't really show you much in detail, but oil filter's there. Air filter on these can be a bit awkward, you've got to take the air box off them. I haven't got round to it yet, but always put a bit of wax oil on these because the water gets in and rots them out and just gives you an absolute headache to get the air filter out. The Renault, obviously I've got the filter out. Awkward to get those 2 pipes, let's put the light on, because you can't get into the little clips on them. See the little green piece? They do make it quite awkward. But this is where the problems happen, is you've got a little, obviously this is like your electronic unit that goes into the top of it. and you've got a little Torx that holds it in, and naturally garages never bother people who fit them, and I don't know why. For start putting a bit of grease on like I have, and this top, obviously all the water sits in it and it rusts out. Why not just put a little smudge of grease over? I do not know, but they can be a right pain, but luckily it come out okay. The seals, that's them all there, 1, 2, 3, 4, which are, again, used a bit of silicone grease, which I've showed you time and time before. Red one, black one, the little black one, and the third red one, second red one even, goes on the bottom, which screws into the base like that. And again, I just wanted to show you with the old filter. Now this can go in any which way you like, and you get yourself all confused. Simple thing is, get a white paint pen. I've marked, as you can see there, the white on the corner, the white to there, and the white on there. And on the new one, because by the arrows that's on, just marked it so I know where to put it. Saves you so much time. Of course, don't forget to put this on before you start fitting it. And what I would say with these, there's a little primer under the bonnet, and they are absolutely rubbish, awful to deal with. So once you get this built up, I get a little funnel and I just stick it in there. In fact, what I might even do is connect the in pipe and then connect my vacuum thing over there, what you've seen is pump the oil out with and stuff, and draw the fuel through, because you're on forever trying to pump them. These do not have an in-tank pump. Do not start them with empty one of these, because you will be in massive problems with them. So just don't do it, don't go there. So yeah, we'll get all this built back up now, get it put back together. I've got diesel all over my hands, so I can't. There we go. So yeah, I'll catch you when I get the Astra in, and again, I've got a fuel filter to do on that one. I'll show you that, totally different idea to these, much better idea. Oil and filter, absolute awful job on those 2 litre diesels, because you fill the subframe full of oil. Good rust proofing, but not ideal for somebody's block paved drive when it leaks out everywhere for weeks. So I'll catch you soon. Got to get this built up. I mean, I would show you when it's fully done, but it's just like the new filter being in there, wheel on, wheel arch liner, not a great deal else to see, and hopefully it just fires straight up. So I'll catch you soon. Right, that's the Astra in. I've just had a Mitsubishi Outlander with a report up the road broken down with a stop-start battery more than likely playing up. So I've got the jump pack, the key. These jump packs are brilliant, by the way, guys. GB70, absolutely great. That will jumpstart the train, that thing. So I'm going to go up there and get that, and I'll give you a bit of info on the battery on that, the stop-start batteries and how expensive they can be, but we need to first of all see if we can get it actually up and running. Astra in, service, as you know, it's been dropped off. Oil and filter, which is a nightmare on them. Fuel filter, not so bad. Got the 2 parts on here. I don't normally interchange stuff, but it doesn't really matter. Bosch fuel filter, man, oil filter. Very expensive parts on these. Really ridiculous for some reason. Air filter's not been done because it wasn't done too long ago. This was customer request. I personally think the fuel filter would be probably okay to leave it, but this guy, the guy I got the A6 off, he looks after stuff and he doesn't mess around. He listens to our advice and he just says, I don't fully know about the car, even though I know the previous keeper did, so just do it. And he says, I know where we're at. Anyways, what I want to do first do anything is a service light. Just thought I'd quickly show you. I used to do separate videos on these and they proved to be very popular, which I'm debating starting to do again. Just quick 2-minute videos. So when you put the ignition on, it says check the radios and gone there. Change engine oil soon. So what we'll do is press menu on the stalk. Really simple these. Vehicle menu. Hit it again. Engine oil life to reset. End. Do you want to reset? Yes. And that should pop up to 100%. Job done. Put the car. I always like to put the cars back to where customer left it with the speed. So now ignition off. Ignition on. Checking like it always says. There'll be no more oil service reminder. Job done. Going to get it on the lift and I'll show you what's going on underneath, and I'll show you tomorrow morning when it's going to have over 200 brake horsepower. Good upgrade on this, definitely. Just thought I'd add this quick little snippet in of new and old. What I tend to do is write dates on the housing, as you can see there. 9th 19 was the last time it was done. I've just wrote above it 12/22, and I always do the little white mark like I've told you, just to save yourself any hassle. But there you go. There's a genuine man one we fitted, obviously in 19. It's not that bad, but that's just how they get, but it's worth doing. Little bit of oil around the seal. Obviously there's that seal up there. to pop them back in. But like I was saying, you're different to the rental I've just done this morning. With these, you just pop them straight in, switch the ignition on, there's a pump in the tank, and that primes it through. Obviously, you switch your ignition on and off a couple of times, but that does the trick on these ones. 5 or 6 times, ignition on, ignition off, happy days, prime, start up, forget about it. Just thought I'd show you this, shit show basically with these. Nice and easy to drain them, but with a stupid idea on the drain plug, which I can't show you. There's like a little hole in them, they were hollow sump plug, so the minute you slacken it, it just starts spraying oil everywhere. It's a stupid idea, really. It's like there's no reason for them. But even worse than that is the hidden oil filter up there, which I'll just get a light. Just grab the light up there, which you can't get to a proper angle of them, which is there. Without, you can easily round them. But they used to have a little drain plug at the bottom. Oh, there it is at the bottom there. You can put it on. If you don't use that, these little tubes that we use, what happens is you fill the subframe full of oil. And obviously when the customer parks them up, you can't get everything out and they drip for weeks all over, obviously, somebody's nice driveway. So yeah, not ideal. But that's that done. So really that's all that's getting done to this one. It's going to back in for the rear pads are getting a bit low. And that'll be in a few weeks' time or just after Christmas. And the remap tomorrow on it. Happy days. But I've got to go up and get this Mitsubishi. More than likely this will be stopping in overnight and I'll get a battery ordered if that's what it is. There's a bit of, cross wires about what's actually going on. Whether or not it's a key issue or a battery, who knows. We'll go up. I can't really film up there because it's in a health centre, so that's just constantly people coming and going. But when I get back to the garage, I'll do a bit of filming. It'll be tomorrow now because this Astra was actually meant for tomorrow. So that's filled the gap once it's remapped tomorrow to just fit a battery. Well, we're on with batteries. The old girl, the battery on this is slowly but surely giving up. So, like I mentioned, the alternator is not connected on this car. So the little bit of time that it does run, it doesn't replenish the battery. Not that it ever worked properly anyway, because it never ran long enough to charge it. But what I have got is a selection of batteries. Now, this was the one I took off that Volvo the other day. I'm going to give it a what you call a recondition charge overnight and see how that goes. If not, it was going in the scrap anyway. The one that I've got down there, I think it's time for the scrap. I've got another new one in, well, it's not new. It was new off a car that got scrapped years ago, but it's been hammered quite a bit. Give that one a go, and I think there's another one somewhere in the back which I think's well gone. But anyways, I've got enough to try, and also this Mitsubishi that's coming in. If this battery happens to fail, I don't replace batteries unless they fail the test. I'm going to give it again a bit of a recondition charge and see if I can get that. Debating whether or not a stop-start battery might work better, a knackered one, for what this car needs, than the standard ones, because that's exactly what it's doing, stop-start. But we'll see. But I'll catch you later once I've gotten this sorted. More than likely tomorrow when I've got the Mitsubishi here and RGM's doing the remap on the Astra. Hello guys and welcome back to Wednesday's vlog. Spent the night last night up sorting the loft out, putting lights up and everything, so that's why there wasn't much near the end of the day yesterday, because I got away and got that sorted. Just quickly to show you what's in. First up, what's in is, well, not what's in, what's been delivered. Like I was telling you yesterday about that Corsa with the heater fan, Denso. You'll all have heard of Denso, especially on stuff like this, Toyotas. It's all original equipment. There's the heater fan, there's the pollen filter, and there's the heater resistor. Not quite sure on the brand of that, but I shall have a look. So a lot of stuff do come in little boxes like that, and they're genuine Vauxhall parts. And also I've got the stop-start battery, which I just doubly need to check. Yeah, it is. You see, just a little bit of information for you. EFB, electrolyte-flooded battery, stop-start. Make sure you do not fit incorrect batteries to cars with stop-start system or something. You will cause massive problems. So that's that. This, if you remember, was for sale 6 months ago or so. And a gentleman bought it off with. Wait, this had actually been the lad of you've seen with that Mercedes S-Class with the fuel tank issues. It was his dad's car for years. Then I had it. Then one of my other customers, Dave, had it. And then he sold it, and another one of my customers have bought it. So there we go. Just to show you as well, this car, it's always had a little bit of a high clutch on it, and it's not the best. But I think the guy before this guy had it for about 5 or 6 years, and it was like that. Never got any worse. We were convinced that I had a clutch in, hence it got sold cheap. Originally for that, he had it for 5 or 6 years, and then this guy come to look at it. One of my pals, his so-called mechanic friend, and he kind of said that he drove once down the road and back like an idiot, and then he turned around. He said to the guy, he says, "Oh, that car not even make it out the yard." And I'm sat in the back seat. I'm like, "Well, you've just howled it up the road and it's been fine. This guy's done a couple of long trips in this, and he uses it every day. It's been perfectly fine." But I think it was cheap. It was like 400-500 quid. Wasn't much more than that. It was a cheap car. I just don't know what people want, you know what I mean? But that's just be careful. If you do have a so-called mate sometimes, don't always take that advice 100%, because you could miss out on a good car, which he actually did. I did actually send him a photograph a couple of months back when the guy had said he had done this mileage on it, and I actually took a photograph. I said it's managed to do about, I think it was 1,500, 2,000 miles. I said it's done quite canny to say that your mate said it wouldn't make it out the yard. But yeah, that was a story for that one to tell. This one, I'm going to attempt, but I don't know if we'll manage to charge this massive battery up and see if it'll hold a decent charge and fit it to this. But I might try removing the battery tray and whatnot, but we'll see what happens later on. That's what I've got to do next, fit that battery. Obviously this one's been on charge. I'm going to temporarily put that onto this one if it needs to go out. But that's what we're going to do here. Usual nonsense, it's a new Mitsubishi Outlander. All the air boxed intake pipe has to come off. You've got a battery cover, you've got the usual kind of Mitsubishi clamp, and all these daft little fuses. You've got to be so careful with these. I'm even being careful just working around them. There's like 1, 2, I think there's some more under there, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's even a one maybe's in somewhere around here. But if they blow, you've got to change this, and we've been through this before. This whole panel of fuses, it costs quite a lot of money, so just be careful if you're ever messing around with any batteries on, to be honest, any car, modern-ish car, just be careful, but especially these newer stuff, and Mitsubishis and stuff like this, that are hard work. This has got tyre pressure monitoring warning lights on. It might have been due to the battery, but I've noticed all the tyres are quite low, so I'm going to do that for them anyway, and knock the lights off, and that'll be going back. That's the battery there. Little Yaris here. I think this is just MOT. To be honest, I don't know. I've only just getting through the door. Isn't a hybrid one. I'm trying to think whose car this is. I can't remember. Oh, sorry, it is. It's in for a service and possibly an MOT. Just general good little cars. Absolutely cracking. Oh, I do remember whose car it is now. And we basically told her to go out and get one, and she's been happy with it ever since for the last 3 years. So she's got it nearly new, 3 or 4 year. Great. I do like the front ends of these. I think actually, I don't know why, it just stands out a lot more on the red car with the black. Looks quite nice, that does. So yeah, like I said, anybody wants a little car, just get a Yaris. That's just a simple answer. Or a Fiesta, but not with the EcoBoost in. This is one of our pals, Gordon's car. He actually owns an Aston Martin. This is just his banger. I hope he'll not be watching this, but this is Gordon's banger. But yeah, I wish I could have a car like this as a runabout. But yeah, I'm saying I wish I could have it. I did tell him it's the 2-litre one. It's the not the engine I would have, put it that way, for chain problems. I'm saying that it's got the twin exhaust, but I did remember him come in saying it had the 2-litre in. I'm sorry, but I've had one of these 3-litre all the way. It's probably locked, is it? Have I got the keys? Let's have a quick look. Looks like a nice spec, I will say. It's just a shame whoever bought this brand new didn't. The only thing I'm not keen on is this. I don't know what the crack is with this, and I was going to ask somebody who's a so-called BMW expert. We've got the indicators in the mirrors. I assume they used to have them in the wing, and that's what they used to do to fill up a gap. What is the point of this? What is this? And why is it there? Please tell me BMW couldn't be asked to design a new wing without the hole in when they decided to put the indicators in the mirrors. I find that very cheap and nasty, I will say. It's not even like a proper vent or anything, it's just a stupid blanking cap. What's your guys' thoughts on this? I think it's a bit not good. Nice to see it hasn't got the big brake package, because that would have just been extra work for us, because that's all it needs. I think it's front or rear parts, can't remember which. Headlamp washer moment. So obviously the BMW like to write on in these sometimes what they are. We don't know. It'll obviously have HID or some kind of LED. Possibly HID if it's got the washers on them, because they tend to find not put washers on HIDs for some reason, which I don't know why. Don't even know what like kind of spec this is. It's got the M spec on the thingy, but it's got the sat nav and all. They have got a nice auto in these, I will say. Normally tells you on here, yeah. Oh, sorry, it's a 5 Series, man. Just shows you how massively not into BMs I am. Yeah, it's a 520D. I was thinking it was big for 3 Series, and I was wondering why it had the dual exhaust on. But that's why, Dan, because you're an idiot, because it's a 5 Series. But modern cars of today, debadged. Why? I do not like debadging. I don't like anything messing around with stickers. Just leave things what they are. I know somebody hasn't physically done that. It's been an option more than likely to not have it on. Yeah, I was kind of thinking the brakes were a little bit big and it was a bit bigger, but I will say, the 5 Series doesn't seem as big as what it used to be. To be quite honest, that Renault is nearly bigger, which is based on a Laguna. And, you know, the 5 Series was always a bit bigger than, like, a Laguna, in my opinion. So, yeah, definitely, I would say that looks a lot smaller than most 5 Series. It might just be an optical illusion, but I would quite like to put a 3 Series side by side next to it, and there's not a great deal of extra space. Has it got an automatic opening boot? Do I need to press it? It hasn't even got an automatic opening boot. Or is it this that's opened? Right, let's have a look. Has it? Yes, it has. All the bells and whistles on this. Yeah, the boot's alright. To be honest, with it being rear-wheel drive, it's very high. I wouldn't say it had a great deal much more space in there than an Astra, mind. Not a great deal more. Obviously, with the high floor, we'll press this button. And the usual way now, which I do not understand, is making estate cars have a slope back. You lose all that space. So from that back bumper, if you just do imaginary line up to there, you lose all that space, which is useful space. Is the whole point that you buy an estate car. I don't get that. That's just the way things seem to be. But yeah, all the digital dash and fancy buttons and stuff. We'll switch it on. We'll turn that off. And we'll see if we can have a headlamp washer moment. We'll see if they work. There we go, as we get blinded. Had to do that. And it's in for check over anyway, so they actually need to be checked. To switch the ignition off, and they actually do need to be checked to see if they're working. Checking the lights, wipers, tyre pressures, doing the brakes, like a pre-MOT it's getting before he goes on a long journey. So that's that. A front or rear pads, can't remember which. And we're due for arrival in a minute for RGM Remaps to come, to stick a remap on this. Taking it from 160 something brake horsepower, I think it's got, to 210. That's just a stage 1. So this thing will be a flying machine. And it is a car that I was going to possibly buy. It's just the fact it wasn't the estate. Wouldn't have been any use for me. The back end's far too high for the old dog getting up, and the boot's not really that big. Like I said, if I'd been in the estate, would have considered it. Let's have a look in here. This is the Elite, the full leather. It is a nice car, but this thing's going to be a little flyer once we're done. May do a quick film when I've got RGM here, which he should be here in a minute. Just to show you, I don't want to shove the camera on his face, but I might do a quick little walk around. Catch you guys soon. My fingers are going to fall off holding this phone. It's absolutely freezing this morning. Right guys, well I'm back. I just want to just show you quickly on this BMW, which I thought was a 3 Series, which is a 5 Series. A bit on the brakes on these things, how obviously the rear handbrakes nowadays with electronic calipers, you need computers, still do on the front brakes with these. Just quickly show you, one side is already built up. This is the easy side. So this hasn't got what you call the big brake pack, or the whatever they call it, the M Sport brake pack, which are a bit more awkward because they come painted from the factory, so you've got to be careful. Even fitting these spring clips to them, you can chip off all the paint. They're just a nightmare, to be honest. But these ones aren't bad, nice and simple. You've got your 2 sliders in the back. I've already been round. They always rust on these tiny little points on the brake lines. So I've coated that with some wax oil, done the usual up there. New pads are fitted in there. Old ones were getting quite worn. BMW had advised it as well. Put a bit of grease around the hub as well for the wheels, alloy wheels going on. So I want to show you though a few things. These are what I'm showing you, these sliders what go in there. Now I've cleaned this one up and I put a bit, obviously, the silver grease on the threads. Then what you do is put a bit of the silicone grease on the actual shafts, and this is what the actual caliper slides on this shaft here. So it's very important to get this, which everybody seems to forget and miss, this black rubber which transfers off the guides onto it, and that causes your calipers to become tight. So you just need a bit of P80 grit sandpaper. Be careful because it is quite rough, but if you use the more fine sandpaper, this stuff is actually on harder than you think. So you just clean that off the end, just lightly, so obviously it's clean like that one. Grease the end with some conventional, any grease you like, copper grease, whatever, and then some silicone grease. Do not use this kind of grease on here though. Has to be like a silicone rubber grease. Even the rubber grease I find is not ideal. Silicone's what you want because it does not harm rubber at all. So you put that on these shafts and then just build it up. What I do want to show you is in here. Well, I'll show you in a second. I'll build it up. You've got what you call your wear sensor, which I've got here on this pad. Now BMW, like Mini, have a pad that is a sensor that wears gradually with the pad. You seen the one on the Mercedes the other day. Basically, once the pad gets low, it cuts through it and it puts the light up. These give you a percentage. So the car, when you plug the computer on, it'll tell you front pads 20%, rear pads 70%. So and this one actually hasn't touched it fully, just a little bit. But from my experience of working with these BMWs and Minis, is if you fitted that old sensor or those new pads, you go into the computer and you say reset front pads, which you have to, it'll bring up an error and it totally cocks the whole car's system up. So you would have to re-pull everything back off again to fit the new sensor. That's your pads out, caliper off. And I'll show you the idiotic ways that they go on. Instead of just like that Mercedes that we did last week or whenever it was, where they have the plug attached to the caliper, so you just simply unplug the plug, change the sensor, happy days. That's too easy for BMW, you see. They have to pull wiring harness for it. All of this, multiple connections, plugs. And to be quite honest, this is an easy one. What a lot of the Minis do and stuff, they mean that you have to go pulling. Sorry guys, the phone went there and I don't know, the camera knocked itself off. Right, so I just wanted to show you the complications involved with these. Obviously you've got that sensor on the pad, what you've seen. We've had to use a cable tie on there just to keep it a bit more tight. It snakes its way up along the ABS wire. Up there, excuse the light flashing, it's letting us know the battery's flat. Up there, and into this little junction box where there's two plugs, one for the ABS, one for the sensor, where you disconnect them and swap them over. Why on earth they didn't just, like on Mercedes, just have the plug there, where you just plug it in, disconnect it, happy days. But that's too much to ask, isn't it? Obviously, that's where them sliders go in, which I'm currently cleaning up. The pads are in place. There's a spring clip, which is here, which goes onto it. So that's how far we are with it up to now. There's nothing more to view. Once the pads are in, built up, I've got to take the Astra, which has been remapped. We'll have a quick walk over there. Nothing really to show, it's just been plugged in. But the little Toyota Corolla, which you've seen first thing, that's away for MOT now. The Yaris is fixed, serviced. I thought it was MOT, but it isn't. Oil and filter, air filter, and that's remapped now of about, I'll write down the figures. I think it's about 210 brake horsepower from 160. I think it's got, I don't know, I'll have to just check the figures first. I've got them on my phone, but as I keep mentioning, I can't see things on my phone when I'm filming. I've got to put my phone on airplane mode. And the Outlander, I'm going to do a little walk around review of this actually, guys. Midweek review. Let us know if you like the midweek reviews. I'll pick one or two cars of interest to kind of feature on the reviews. I haven't got time to go into specs and figures exactly on them because I don't have time, but this is the Outlander. Now, I do like these. They brought out the newer version, the Shogun, which is basically a pumped up version of this, but I don't really think you need it because this is four-wheel drive. It's got decent ground clearance. It's got an alright four-wheel drive system on it as well, and it's also got 7 seats, which I'll just open the boot, which is nice to see. 7-seater. Nice big boot area, proper estate-sized car boot. My favourite, as we all know, plastic stuff in here. It's what you want when you've got dogs. Up here, nice wipe clean plastic. I know you might say, oh, it's cheap, but you don't want that. Just like on that BMW on the lift, it's got all carpets everywhere. You put dogs in there, you ruin them. This is what you want. 12 volt, 120 watt output. Just nice little design on it, yeah. Storage under there. There's your 7 seats. I believe it's got an electronic boot as well, yeah, it has. Don't know if that means error or am I not pressing it long enough or something? No idea. I think it might mean it's switched off via the switch, because there's a bit of a switch in the car. There is actually a manual override, which it caught my eye straight away, because this has got a nice interior like what my L200 had, but it's quite an old-fashioned switch there for that. It's proper, like, lifted straight out of a 1990s, 1980s car. It just looks so out of place. But anyways, I think that must mean it's activated now, so we'll give it a go. Make sure I switch it off, because the guy's obviously got it off for a reason. There we go. Nice electronic tailgate. And I do like that idea. Anyway, I know it's an old school button, but hey ho, it works, and it's an old school system. These other ones have the hinges and they go right up into the roof and cause problems. This, it's just a basic electric motor. There's the teeth for it and everything. Nice and easy to get to. Just on a metal bar. That's all it needs to be. Takes up a little bit of space, but it's all it needs to be. Press the button. And there we go. Down it comes. It's funny, the number plate on this car as well, WN67YHD. My L200 was WN19YRD. Wynyard, I used to call it. That was my nickname for it, Wynyard. WNYRD. So it's a pretty similar number plate. To say it's a totally different, yeah, 17, mine was a 19. Yeah, so probably the same place as I got mine from, was it? No. Oh, I took it to Blackshaws for work. Actually, that's where I took it. Cracking. I must say, I really do rate Blackshaws at Morpeth. They were quite nice with me. Where did I buy it from again? Durham way. Croxdale, that's where it was. Got on with them at the beginning. Salesman, quite good. Nice lads. One of the lads watches the channel, Chris. I know you said you used to work there. Thumbs up. Good garage. To be honest, they cocked up on the deal. I got the car far too cheap to what I should. Had a few bits of bother with them when I wasn't happy about the water guard system not being fitted, but that wasn't their fault. They got the car from down the country somewhere. So yeah, do miss me L200. I try not to talk about it too much, but yeah, the money's gone into the house. That's where I need it. Unfortunately, family comes first. I need a house, so yeah, that's where the money went. So I'll have a bit more walk around on this. Really nice at the front end. Dual LED or HID, same thing really. Dual lenses on this, so you've got your dip beam, which is obviously all bisect on, where it moves up and down, side to side, and that I can only assume must be maybe the running lights or something. No, they're the running lights. Headlamp washer moment. Let's just have a quick look. Let's do a demonstration. I think I've left the keys in because I'm going to take this back, and let's just have a little bit of a play with the lights. Let's switch ignition on. So we'll just switch it. Tell you what we'll do, we'll start it up, because I know the lights on these things are a little bit funny. So on the off position, let's see what we've got running. Yeah, just your standard DRL on there. We'll put the side lights on, which I know for a fact they'll just probably... I think I've just may have guessed what that they might be. No, they're not. I thought they might have been the fog lights in the headlamps, but they're not. So obviously, yeah, the side lights are just dulled down DRLs. Headlamps, let's have a look what these are then. Oh, so they've got like dual. That's quite cool. So you've got two projector, either HIDs or LEDs. More than likely be HIDs. I wish the L200 had that, because one thing I will say with them, the high beam and the dip beam were shit. So I quite like these. They've got your one which turns the corners, active one, and you've got the one that stays permanent. So it's quite a good idea. So when you've got your corner in one, you've still got your other two, which are keeping the standard beam pattern of a normal car. So I do like that, I will say. I will definitely say that's a pretty neat idea that I wish the L200s had. Then naturally, I know where we are now, that'll be your main beam, fog lights obviously. So anyways guys, you'll all be saying it, 2 in one day. Shall we have a headlamp washer moment? Why not? Do these still have the button on the end? Yes, they do. Same as the L200. These actually have a separate button for it. It will work when you squirt it on the screen, but I quite like the Mitsubishi idea that instead of wasting water for no reason, if you don't feel the need to clean the screen, you can just clean the headlamps. So here we go. Let's have a headlamp washer moment. There we go. Oh, we'll get 2 squirts. Happy days. So there we go. There's some of Dan's amusing times. Again, this car is in a part of the change in the battery. I've had to reset his tyre pressure monitoring, checked all the levels, topped up his screen wash, checked all these lights, just as a bit of goodwill gesture, because he's like a family member of Joe who used to work here. So I always like to keep them sweet, keep things right. So yeah, we'll walk around it. I believe, don't quote us, this will either be the 2 litre, I think, 2 litre or 2.2 diesel. Again, this is a walk round review purely when the car's in for work from us. I don't know that much about the engine that's in it. I know obviously it was a 2.4 in my L200. This will more than likely be the 2.2 or a 2 litre. I don't know. I don't work on that many of these really, so to comment on it. But I think it's got a quite nice looking front end on them. Quite a nice look. Definitely, I think it actually looks better than the hybrid, because to do a hybrid version of these, plug-in hybrid, and they change them a little bit, and I'm not that keen. This looks nice. Diamond cut wheels, LED indicators, folding mirrors, blind spot monitoring. Don't know if you can see that in the mirror. The 2 little cars. We'll jump in. We'll have a look. Oh, it's the only thing though, when you do just clean the headlamps, still cleans your windscreen for you. Obviously, I've just noticed nice sunroof in it. I do like a classic old style sunroof sometimes. I like these panoramic roofs, but sometimes I think that's just all you need in a car like this. Probably problems in years to come, but when they're new, hey ho, they're fun. I do like this, like a dark wood effect. It's quite nice, that. Obviously, you've got all your basics: electric folding mirrors, heated mirrors, electric windows, electric tailgate, stop start, not keen of that. You've obviously got your traction control menu settings, while I remember on your really old-fashioned button for electric tailgate, which will switch off to the way the customer left it. Heated steering wheel, quite posh. Collision monitoring. They'll probably have the lane assistant stuff on these. Eco mode, and you've got your nice big 4-wheel drive button, which gives you 4-wheel drive lock, 4-wheel drive eco, and 4-wheel drive auto. Heated seats as well as obviously the heated steering wheel. You've got all your sat nav in there. Quite old school this one. Remember, this is 17. I believe after 17 into about 18, Mitsubishi did the nice integrated one without all of these mechanical buttons on, and I am a fan of mechanical buttons, but in the case of the new version that went in, was a lot nicer, like what was in my L200 over this Kenwood style thing, which wasn't great. Exactly the same climate control system lifted out the L200. That's the manual for the key, the manual start and output there. Do these have... Yeah, another, there's loads of outputs. You've seen one in the boot. There's one there. There's one there. Is there a USB somewhere? See, that's the only thing with these ones. I don't think they got the USB. Nice cover over for the cups to neaten the place up. Shall leave that open so I don't think I've lost the key. 6-speed manual, obviously. We'll turn them lights off. Automatic lights, automatic wipers. Obviously, have you seen really fancy headlamps on this? Auto dipped in mirror. Obviously, the sunroof is electronic. So yeah, all of the good times in here, actually. I think it's a nice car, and I'm not going to pull it to bits, because I do genuinely think it's alright. The old ridged roof with the shark fin. Bit for the climate control. Dan, come on, wake up. The sat-nav system, there'll be an antenna. Obviously, you've got your back seats. Bit of disappointing, there's nothing down there. This is what annoys me with Mitsubishi. They seem to forget, like, stupid little things. Now, they've got a charging point in there, for the front people. Why is there nothing for the back people in the back? Not even ventilation. No power outlet, no ventilation, nothing. That's kind of what annoyed me with my L200. They changed that on the Yaris 6 and they put it in. But yeah, you got your factory tinted windows in here. Nice place to be. Typical 4-wheel drive kind of back seat, where I would hate to have to travel too far on the centre. Honda CR-Vs not are the same. It's not just these cars that have this issue. But yeah, just a little bit of a review. Let's see what the weights are. 4322. Yeah, nearly a 2-ton towing capacity. So actually, not a bad car either for towing. Really good. It'll be probably Euro 5 or 6. I don't think it'll be 6 because I don't think it'll have AdBlue. Doesn't look like it from that fuel filler cap. But yeah, just generally a nice car. Just thought I would do a quick midweek walk around, and I'll just open the bonnet and just show you what I fitted to it anyways, because the stop-start battery, that's one thing I hate, stop-start. I'm pleased my L200 didn't have that. With it being a commercial, it didn't have that. So I'll turn the engine off and we'll have a look when I find the bonnet. And there we go, there's the battery fitted. Nice Varta one, 3-year warranty, stop-start EFB battery. And I can't tell you with this. I'm sure it'll be the 2-litre one, but I don't know. I'll be totally honest. If I was going to do a proper review, I would have that information to hand. The usual awkward fuel filters on most of these kind of cars for no apparent reason. Yeah, not a bad car, I will say. One thing I have been out, just to let you know, actually as part of the job on the car, fitting the battery. Obviously it's got the keyless entry with the button as well. It's the same as what my L200 used to have. When I first changed the battery with new cars, now you've got to reprogram everything in. So what happens is, I'll just start it up. First up, the tyre pressure warning light was on. All you've got to do is just drive it around the block up to 30 mile an hour and it'll go off, which it has. And the other thing, see that flashing auto stop start? That basically just means that the engine is too cold, it won't work. So you just let it warm up the temperature, take it out and just check that that's functioning first, just so the system, you know, has been reset properly. And if the car's cold, if you've got the heaters on, it won't work. So you've got to let it get up the temperature, come to a stop, and then it will work, which it did for me before when it was warm. Obviously you can manually turn it off and on, and the only thing it means when it's flashing that it's not ready. Not that there's a problem, it's just not ready. So that's it. I just want to quickly show you when I jump out the car what I was on about as well with the BMW and computers, like we're saying. So once this is all back together and wheels are on and pads are fitted, we've got to faff about going onto the with the scanner to tell the car that it's got new front pads. Otherwise, even when you reset the service light and everything else is fine, it'll still be saying service in, say, like 2,000 mile or 5,000 mile. Why is it not resetting to the yearly schedule? It's because it factors in that the brake pads are at like 20% or whatever it'll be. I might show you that later on, because I'll do a bit extra content to fill in for Friday, not having any. So we'll leave it there, guys, and I'll catch you soon. Hello, guys, welcome back to Thursday's vlog. Potentially this will be the last day, because like I mentioned, tomorrow I'm off, but I'll see how much footage I've got through the rest of the week. I think I've got enough. If I find that it's I've got like not enough kind of thing to make a decent weekly vlog, I'll do a little bit showing you what's gone on at the house. But more than likely, I might add that into next week's vlog. I just want to show you what's in today. 2 little, what do you call them, super minis, I suppose. Fiat 500 and a Yaris. Like I've mentioned to people, this car potentially could be for sale soon, and I haven't got any photographs to show anybody, so I'll walk around and show you it. 07 plate, Yaris, T-Spirit, which means it's got the contactless key entry, a few other little extras, front fogs. It's got what do you call it, all season, brand new tyres, all 4 of. Quite a good brand, I think the Cormoran ones, they're good. Obviously all 4 I'm stating here, not just the front ones. It's in for MOT today, so it'll have a full or near enough full MOT. But I'm just waiting for the lady to decide what she's doing with it. As you can see, it's all contactless things on the doors, as such. It's got the push button stop start. It isn't stop start as in the annoying thing you have, but just a push button start without the key. Aircon probably doesn't work, and you've got your usual nice Yaris dashboard, which I really like in there. It's spot on. All your speedo and all the rest of it. Climate control as well. A few nice little features, you know, electric heated mirrors, all that kind of usual malarkey. So there we go. I just thought I'd do a quick walk around of it. Obviously it's the 3-door. It's the 1300, so it's a bit better than the 1 litres that these were fitted with, a bit gutless. And this car's more or less been in my family from new. And these people who've owned it, who look after it, have had it since. So, yeah, there we go. That's just it for MOT. Had a couple of bulbs done. What I am going to do is use the old ducks back. So we'll do a before and after, shall we? We'll have a good look at that. Don't know how good the camera brings that one up. Looks fairly rough, as you can see. We'll see what it does. I'm not totally confident it's going to get these ones perfect, because they're looking a little bit hard up. But what I want to do for the MOT is just turn it from, these aren't really a fail, be an advise, strong advisory on that one, mild advisory on that one. But I'm just wondering if by putting this stuff on, we can actually go to have it advisory free, to actually have no advisory, which the results I've been getting from this has been pretty good, so let's hope it is. So yeah, this has just had the usual wax oil on underneath, which it's had from new, hence it saved it. Some wipers, Bosch ones I believe, some bulbs. It's had a couple of bulbs at the back. Absolute nightmare if you own one of these Yaris, I will say. The little tiny 501s, what runs your rear tail lamps, they are a nightmare to get into. And somebody's been faffing with the other bulbs in. This is the problem when people try to change bulbs themselves and they just go in there hand-fisted. It causes a lot of problems for us to deal with, to get them sorted, and it ends up actually costing you more time. That's what it was. There was a fog lamp out, sorted the fog lamp, a tail lamp, this one was out. Something with that stop lamp was a bit funny. So yeah, and obviously get the headlamps. So all light related really on this, believe it or not. The Fiat 500. As you can see, these back arms, like I keep telling you, on the axle, these just rot out. This is, you've got to remember, this is a 65 plate car. This is touching 2016. 2016 car. And you'd think it was flipping 16 years old underneath. Terrible, terrible rot on Fiat. And just so any of you guys know, a few years, and I'm sorry, people who I know like your Fiats and stuff, Dickie, I don't know if you watch this or not or whatever, I've never owned a Fiat. I've never owned an Alfa Romeo, and the only reason why is what I see day to day on these things. Don't get us wrong, they've got some beautiful looking cars, the style's second to none, the V6 Alphas and all the rest of it sound great. I love the 5-cylinder turbo Fiat engine, I love the 5-cylinder diesel Fiat engine, but they're just nightmare to work on, and the rot and everything. This is a 65 plate car. I don't think I've wrote the miles down. However, let's have a look. It hasn't got many miles, I'll tell you now. Let's have a look. I have 44,000 mile this car's got on. 40,000 mile. In the sump, I've had to coat it just with some kind of... You cannot put paint on, it burns off. I put this like grease on, and believe it or not, it does actually stop on there. But the sump is starting to rot, and it is common with these. Like I've said, this back axle here, you'd think it was... I've been in the bottom of the ocean. It's not bad. It's still solid. But... you'd expect better from a 2000 and potentially 16 car with 40,000 mile on. Shocking. That's why I don't go there with Fiats. I don't go there with Alphas. I don't feel the love for them. I feel the love for the style. Yes, I do. I think they're nice to walk around a car show and look at them. But when this is what you've got to deal with on a 2016 40,000 mile car, count me out. Well, I would use one as a rental car or something. The exhausts as well, it's fine for the test, but really, really nasty metal to make them out of. These front subframes, this is a newer car's fine, but there used to be issues. And like I've mentioned, these arms are a nightmare. You can't change none of the bushes in them. The ball joints as well, when they go, they can't be removed, so you've got to change the whole arm. And the big long bolt which holds this into place is in here, which means you've got to remove this section of subframe, which means you've got to remove part of the front bump and everything. Just silly things like that, which would make me go, if I needed a small car, Toyota Yaris, Toyota Aygo, Hyundai i10, Kia Picanto, anything like that, over one of these. Which is why I fail to see why these Fiat 500s are so popular. Because they're just trash. It's as simple as that. Like, they look the part for the young'uns and stuff, I get it. They've got an iconic name on them, the Fiat 500. That's fine. But I think you just need to open the book and read what issues these have. Don't get us wrong, you'll probably get rear axles for these now quite cheap. Sumps are quite cheap, but it's not the point. They shouldn't be degrading as heavily when they're so new. You know what I mean? So anyways, there's one other thing I want to show you on this Fiat when I bring it down, to ask your opinion on it. And the Yaris, I'll come back to you on that one when I've done the headlamps. And obviously, as you can see, I have coated all over underneath the grease, all the brake pipes, just as part of a pre-check for an MOT. Yeah, just while it's down, I'll just show you. Obviously, I've topped that oil up. It needed half a litre of oil in. I always do this for people. It really is part of a pre-MOT anyway. You need to check the oil. It is actually part of the MOT test to check the oil to do the emissions. Topped that screen wash-up. She's just a young lass. So I just checked everything's right. Because I know her mum and dad well, just so she's safe. So yeah, so that's all of that. The old Mopar battery there. Remember all them parts on my Jeep. Because obviously now Jeep's part of the Fiat group and everything. Stop-start battery on it. They aren't cheap. But I just wanted to show you these. There's two annoying things with these cars, which I really can't stand, which I'll show you when I come round here, is you can't, with the light stalks on them, they've got to be on, there isn't the side light setting, so it's either on fully or off, and it's just annoying. Why? Doesn't need to be. But yeah, like I said, this is the stop-start version, which I'll personally always turn off because it will just knock the starter motor up in the flywheel gear. But I wanted to show you this in the back. I wouldn't be too happy sitting in the back of this thing. They haven't even got any headrests. Factory fitted, no headrests. And have you seen how close your head is to that back window? That's not good. You have an impact and you're sitting there, your head is going to launch straight back and go through that window and potentially give you serious whiplash or even break your neck. It's not good, that. I didn't even think cars were still being made with no rear headrests. I thought they were missing at first, but they're not. There you see. There's not even any holes for them. Look at the size of that. It's not even the length of this is the car key, by the way. You've only got the car keys distance, and actually that window encroaches in even further by the angle of the back of the car. I'm surprised Fiat have been allowed to release that for rear impact safety measures. It mustn't have a very good crash rating if that's the case. So yeah, I just thought I'd just come to my mind there. And I think that's really, really dangerous. I most certainly wouldn't want to be in the backseat of one of those. You know, even a flipping... Crikey. I'm sure my ZX has even got rear headrests, I think. But yeah, not a good feature. So anyways, going to crack on, do them headlights before and after. And this Fiat's done, ready to go for test. So I'll catch you soon. Right guys, I'm going to make this the final part. I've decided there's no point in filming up the loft tomorrow. I'll do that next week as part of next week's vlog when everything's done, tidied up and finished with. Because by the time we're done tomorrow, wiring and God knows what, I'll just be ready for home, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, I'll show you this Yaris. I definitely believe that's ducks back 1, cloudy headlamp 0. Again, this one ain't perfect, but it was really bad to start with. But I think he would agree. There's a massive, massive improvement. No scraping on, no sandpaper, no messing about. Just 2 bottles of fluid. That's what come off the light. That's what went on. Happy days. No faff involved. Now, that's just pretty much a straight through advisory. I can even see, you can see right into the bulb element and everything. I mean, like I said, the right hand one's slightly worse. But I think if you faff on with them a bit too much, it makes them worse. But standing back, it's not even massive grounds to even advise that on an MOT now. And that's the whole point of it, to get it through, to be sorted.